The photograph sits in an archive somewhere in Rochester, New York. Black and white, slightly blurred. A woman holding a cat, staring into a lens connected to a machine the size of a toaster. The image took 23 seconds to capture. The device weighed nearly 4 kilograms. And it contained no film. This photograph it captured was the image that would one day bring down the company that made it. The man behind the lens was 24 years old. His name was Steven Sasson. He was a Kodak engineer. And he had just taken the first digital photograph in human history. What's more, he did it in the very laboratory of the company that would one day be displaced by this technology. To understand what happened next, you first need to understand what Kodak was. Kodak was not just a company, it was also a cultural institution. Ever since George Eastman founded the company in 1888 with the promise, "You just press the button, we'll take care of the rest," it had virtually carved out a place for itself at the heart of the film industry. Every wedding, every birth, every farewell was captured on Kodak film, developed with Kodak chemicals, and printed on Kodak paper. That yellow box was more of a ritual than a product. Kodak didn't just build a business. It gave the world the chance to collect memories and taught us how to remember. When Sasson presented his prototype to senior management, a deep silence fell over the room. They immediately grasped what they were seeing. This device meant a filmless camera, and, more importantly, a filmless future. Processing chemicals, paper, darkrooms, the entire system. It threatened to render all of these obsolete. The reality was that film sales were everything. That's why management first congratulated Sasson on his success. Then they asked him not to share this with the public. They chose to shelve this technology and keep it locked away. It wasn't the first time an industry had killed its own future in order to protect its present. In the late 1800s, American railroad companies had the capital and infrastructure to build the automobile industry. They didn't do it because they were in the railroad business, not the transportation business. Blockbuster had the chance to buy Netflix for $50 million in 2000. They didn't buy it, because the rule of the system was this: protect what you have, until what you have no longer has any value. Throughout the 1980s and into the 1990s, while Kodak chose to stand still, the world was changing around it. Sony, Canon, Nikon. Competitors with no film empire to protect were shifting all their resources to digital imaging. Kodak took cautious steps and made small investments. But film was still at the center. Film was their identity. Then came the internet, then came camera phones. Then it became clear that people no longer wanted to store photos. In the early 2000s, film sales began a long and irreversible decline. The harsh reality is that Kodak's management wasn't foolish. Management saw the balance sheet. According to the balance sheet, they were in excellent shape. Every quarterly report, every shareholder meeting, every compensation structure pointed in the same direction. Keep doing the film business. And the entire organization had already been built around that. But there was one thing they missed. Kodak remained highly profitable for a long time. However, that profit came from the dying film market. The company had relied on the cash flow from its traditional business and thus lagged behind in the digital transformation. In January 2012, the Eastman Kodak Company filed for bankruptcy. The company that invented digital photography was defeated by it. Think about that for a moment. They didn't lose because they lacked the ability. They didn't lose because they lacked the resources. They didn't even lose because they failed to see what was coming. They lost precisely because they saw it, and chose to ignore it. This was the brutal, true story of that time. That's why we're going back to the past again. And this story begins anew in the same laboratory, in 1975. Sasson places the prototype on the table. The executives lean forward. The same calculations fill the room once more. The threat to the film, the threats to everything, begin to be discussed again. And then a voice rises. If we don't do it, someone else will. And the executives, acting in unison, did not shelve the invention. Throughout the late 1970s and 1980s, Kodak redirected its resources toward digital imaging. Its engineers, already the world's experts in capturing light, now applied that same precision to pixels. In 1988, Kodak launched its first consumer-oriented digital camera. It was a somewhat expensive product, but one bearing the most trusted name in photography. The transition period took a financial toll. Film revenues began to decline earlier than expected. But Kodak continued to set the pace. With the advent of the internet, Kodak is ready to take things to the next level. In the mid-1990s, Kodak launches KodakNet. This platform is designed for uploading, storing, sharing, and printing photos. It's simple at first. But it carries something no Silicon Valley startup could produce overnight: a century of trust. People had always entrusted their memories to Kodak. Naturally, bringing that relationship online required almost no convincing. KodakNet evolved. Shares, comments, connections. So, when something like Instagram needed to exist, people already had a platform. It was just called Kodak. Given these circumstances, the Kodak story wasn't over by 2012. The company managed to move forward without ever filing for bankruptcy and eventually bounced back. It began producing a significant portion of the camera sensors found in today's iPhones and Samsung phones. As the inventor of digital sensor technology, Kodak invested in this field, and today, 1 out of every 2 smartphones in the world contains a Kodak image sensor. This provided the company with a never-ending stream of licensing and manufacturing revenue. Consequently, Sony, which was actively engaged in this business at the time, went bankrupt. Given this situation, the Kodak story wasn't over by 2012. The company managed to move forward without ever facing bankruptcy and became one of the world's largest technology companies. But what about the cultural institution? The yellow box on every shelf? That's gone. To be blunt, the platforms that hold our photos today are not neutral storage services. They are advertising machines. Your memories and product nostalgia are data. Your most private moments feed algorithms designed to sell you things. Kodak had built a different relationship with its customers. You paid for the film. The memory was yours. It's worth considering what we're giving up in exchange for this model. The first digital photo is currently sitting in an archive, forgotten, buried, and somewhere in the world, another company is likely making the exact same decision Kodak made in 1975. Let me know in the comments, who do you think that company might be? I hope to see you in another video next week. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell.